To say that the Ringside Pass for WWE 2K26 has been polarizing is a bit of an understatement. On various review outlets, 2K has been getting hammered with claims of predatory monetization practices. And quite frankly, I do agree to an extent. Ever since patch 1.04, they've tuned the RXP progression to a point which heavily incentivizes that you purchase their tier skips. But I don't want to spend this entire video talking about the negatives. Instead, I wanted to focus my attention on the free track of the Ringside Pass. We've been told repeatedly by the developers themselves that the transition to a battle pass type of unlock method was all about giving us more content. Now, unfortunately, the entire first season of the free track was filled with the legends and championships that we had access to in the previous games, albeit with quite a few notable omissions, but more on those omissions later. What's good, family? T-Rex Carter here, back with another WWE 2K26 video. Today I want to explore what I believe could be in store for us when it comes to the wrestlers we could see in the free track of the Ringside Pass. But first, make sure you lock in with your boy by pressing the subscribe button and liking the video. Also, down in the comment section, let me know some personas you would like to see get added in the future. Now, without wasting any more time, let's jump right into this thing. Kicking things off, we have wrestlers who desperately need updated models and or gimmicks. And we kind of got a glimpse of one that they may already have in the pipeline, that being Natalya. And on one of the weekly episodes of Raw, they used her 2K model to represent her, which she was wearing her Natty attire. Now it looks like they ripped that model straight from Community Creations and used it to promote the match, but it's one of those ones I could definitely see them implementing in the future. On top of that, we also have Kit Wilson, which has become somewhat of a fan favorite here lately. Even though I personally don't get it, it's not my cup of tea as far as the gimmick goes, but to each their own. You still can't deny the amount of the reactions that he's getting. But Kit has caught in fire as of late. Ever since his tag partner Elton Prince went out with a neck injury, he kind of had to reinvent himself for the singles scene, and it's working. And there were a lot of people that were upset that when the game got announced and they saw his model, he still had his pretty deadly gimmick going on. So I could also see this one being one that they implement in the future as well. Now, Trick Williams and Obafemi have become major stars and are getting a much deserved push ever since they've landed on the main roster. But both of them came into this year's game with outdated attires and outdated entrances. And Oba himself had came out on socials after all of the backlash from his model being shown off and said that there's going to be another version of him pushed out. I hope it's sooner rather than later, because I love using them in my universe modes, and I really want to see that updated model come out. Hopefully one where he has his hair down, because that seems to be the main way that he wears it now when he's wrestling. But it's the entrances for me that I feel like need the most work when it comes to him. Oba definitely needs a new model. Trick really just needs a new entrance and obviously an attire to go with it. But they both need new entrances. And some talent on the supplemental brands that need some updates. First one that comes to mind for me is going to be Tony D. Now, I'm not the biggest NXT fan. I don't watch it on a weekly basis. I watch the highlights for the most part, usually it's because I got a lot going on Tuesdays. So it's not one that I'm making an appointment to sit down and watch. But Tony D's new version of himself is much more interesting to me. The more intimidating Russian mobster look over the one that he had, like the goofy Italian family guy, is just much better and much more appealing. I like the take on a more serious character. I'm not big on the comedy goofy characters. There's some guys that can do it and do it well, R-Truth being one of them, but it's not for everybody. And I really like the direction that they're taking Tony D's character. Kelani Jordan is another one. Her new heel persona is really cool. I want to see, if we do get her implemented, I want to see the version of her that we got from the 2026 Royal Rumble. She put on a show there, and like I said, I really think that version of her really deserves a spotlight. And something I thought we were actually gonna see in the first season of this track was gonna be Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne as Rayo and Bravo Americano. The season 1 was all about AAA and the Luchadors. I really thought that we would have seen something like that for them. Now, who knows if we actually see those guys get implemented in as personas down the line, but I think they make good candidates to do so. And again, I kind of want to reiterate something. All of these will make great candidates for persona cards as long as they're implemented in the free track of the Ringside Pass and not as My Faction or Island exclusive personas. You should not be forced to play a mode that almost requires you to spend money for a up-to-date superstar in a 2026 video game. It doesn't make any sense. Now let's actually go over some developmental talent that was missing from the launch roster that a lot of fans of the series were not happy about. Starting with OTM and Dark State. The tag division is sorely lacking variety, and they would boost the NXT roster so much, and they make great potential call-ups for in-universe mode. Another one would be Ariana Grace, who's currently bouncing between NXT and TNA. It would be cool to be able to partner her up with her real-life fiance Channing Stacks Lorenzo, as that's already kind of a storyline that they got going on between her and her dad Santino anyway. Luca Crucifino and Adriana Rizzo were both part of the D'Angelo family stable. Even though they've broken them up, they both had enough TV time to warrant being included in this game. Now, Jasmine Nix still made the game, even though she decided to step away from wrestling, but her actual replacement in Lainey Reed didn't. Lainey replaced Jasmine in Fatal Influence, which is the main women's faction inside of NXT. Adding her into the game would also help add depth to the women's tag division. And lastly, we got a guy who's been dubbed the next Obafemi by some in Keanu Carver. But his first match in NXT since being called up from Evolve was in January. But he appeared before both Royce Keys and Danhausen, and they're still making the Ringside Pass. So I don't see why Keanu Carver can't. Now I'm going to be selfish here for a minute and speak into existence two wrestlers that are personal favorites of mine. And we haven't seen this version of these guys since the SmackDown vs. Raw days, and I think would be perfect persona cards in my opinion. I want to see a 2005 Batista with his old entrance music and his old entrance motion as well. On top of that, I want to see a 2004-2005 Randy Orton with the Burn in My Light theme and his Sparks entrance. These two were iconic for me and were coming into their own when I first really started getting into wrestling back in the day. Mom's was kind of strict, so I don't have a fond memories of the Attitude Era like a lot of you do. There were moments where I got to enjoy it when I was at my dad's house, but those were few and far between. And speaking of which, it's time to actually mention the missing pieces from the Monday Night Wars era. They kind of did us dirty in giving us versions of characters that are on the cover that didn't actually make it into the game. And the inverse of that, they actually gave us some guys on the cover that weren't time period accurate as well. For instance, we need a low haircut version of Booker T. Also wouldn't mind getting a Harlem Heat version as well. And while they're at it, go ahead and throw Stevie Ray in there, because the last time we saw him was in the 2K16 DLC. I also want to know where the version of Kurt Angle with hair is, because he's clearly on the front of the cover of the game, but ain't in the game anywhere. We also don't have a WCW version of Goldberg, and a single sleeve and sleeveless version of Kane would be nice too. We have both Farouk and JBL in the game, but don't have them in their APA attires. And can someone please kindly explain to me why we keep getting X-Pac, but not in his DX attire? That still confuses me to this day. They went ahead and put the multi-man DX entrance into the game, and X-Pac is there just sticking out like a sore thumb. And lastly, an Attitude Era Team Extreme. Now this is just speculation based off what we got on the SmackDown Hotel website. The versions of Matt and Jeff that we see on there are their current versions, which I would personally prefer if that's what we got in the DLC, but something that we could get in the free track to go along with it could be their Attitude Era versions as well. And the same can be said for Lita, as the version we have in the game is a older version of her. Now that's gonna wrap up this list for me, guys. I know 2K has dug themselves into quite a hole with this Ringside Pass, and I believe their only path to redemption is to really deliver on the free track. I can't imagine that they'll continue putting the DLC characters that far into the pass going forward, with the amount of heat that they're getting from the game being in the state that it's in right now. But I'm curious to know, Who are some additions you guys would like to see in the free track of the Ringside Pass? Please leave those down in the comment section for me. And while you guys are down there, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't have to miss out on future videos like this. I want to thank you guys for watching. Remember to always keep God first. Stay blessed, y'all. I'm out.